This is episode number 3 of Sabrina, the Millennial Temple, Ezekiel, chapters 40 to 45, and the Flat Earth. The date is Saturday, March the 18th, 2017. And we are going to talk a little bit today about some more wall that surround the Millennial Temple on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. And there's a correspondence. The wall around the building is pictures the Antarctic ring of ice around the Earth. And the wall is this funneled compression that leads us to the greater Earth, which is what these walls are. And that says in the book of Proverbs, he who exalts his gate seeks destruction. And this is a picture, a rendition of the wall that you can see typified by Guggenheim Museum. That very subtle. And the entrance is actually not the penetration of the wall. The wall sits above by a few feet. The 2 cubit by 2 cubit deep. The 6 cubit by 6 cubit. 12 feet high by 12 feet deep. So it's an unusual wall, and it is white, and it's a picture of Christ's fine humanity that so pure, so wonderful, but that even the unbelievers, they can see this wall, the whiteness, the fine flower of Christ's humanity, that there's no blood in that sacrifice the priests were willing to give or able to give. In the Old Testament time, they would sacrifice, and one was for fine flour, and this is the fine flour of God's humanity, the Lord Jesus. So do you see this wall? This go around the entire perimeter, 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet. And what we have in this wall is the restriction of mankind, because what we are fighting is something very significant. And the significance is in the revelations of God. Again, we can restate the aspect of the dollar bill and the pyramid on the back, new world order, so to speak. And the eye of the sneaking Illuminati in the corner of this dollar bill, which is an owl that they can see in the dark, but we cannot. And so that is why they're laughing at us. And I want to say a little bit today about the book 1984, George Orwell. This is a 1984 edition. And something significant about the dual system of astronomy that has been imposed upon us. That most people, they are coming up with the ball model of the Earth. But I want to read to you some things of Winston O'Brien, and that there's an argument that Winston was saying with O'Brien, the man who was tormenting him. But the rocks are full of the bones of extinct animals, mammoths and mastodons, enormous reptiles which lived here long ago, before man was ever heard. And then Winston reply, or rather O'Brien, have you ever seen these bones, Winston? Of course not. 19th century biologists invented them. Before man there was nothing. After man he could come to an end, there would be nothing, if he could. Outside man there is nothing. But the whole universe is outside of us. Look at the stars. Some of them are 1 million light years away. They are out of our reach forever. What are the stars? Said O'Brien indifferently. They are bits of fire a few kilometers away. We could reach them if we wanted to, or we could blot them out. The earth is the center of the universe. The sun and the stars go round it. Winston made another convulsive movement. This time he did not say anything. O'Brien continued, as though answering a spoken objection. For certain purposes, of course, that is not true. When we navigate the ocean or when we predict an eclipse, we often find it convenient to assume that the earth goes round the sun and that the stars are millions upon millions of kilometers away. But what of it? Do you suppose it is beyond us to produce a dual system of astronomy? The stars can be near or distant, according as we need them. Do you suppose our mathematicians are unequal to that? Have you forgotten doublethink? So, this is a dilemma we face because we're under a certain concept and precept of how things are in life. And you know that movie, Planet of the Apes, where at the end of the movie, Charlton Heston was talking to one of the monkeys, Dr. Sayus, and Sayus said, "Be careful, Taylor, because you want to know the truth. You may not like what you find." And then, of course, as we know, if you've seen that movie, the Charlton Heston left and on his horseback, and he see the reason why, according to this movie, the mankind become a monkey. So here I am showing the principle of the flat earth, that you see this dome here, there's the glass bowl, is fitted over top of this plate. And this flat plate structure representing the earth, and the dome sitting on top. And this is something we cannot conceive, that the earth would be such. But important, you see that the dual aspect of Sabrina with the flat earth is important because the Millennial Temple and the flat earth are intertwined interchangeably, because many times in Christianity circles they say that you cannot prove God, Danny. It is impossible to prove God. Well, that may be with the ball earth model, but once you have the proving of the flat earth model with Sabrina as represented, then you can see that the flat earth could not be just come into existence through some crazy big bang. No, it would have to be created. So anyhow, I just want to show you some plan here, more plan of some detail of the Millennial Temple, the inner court. This time will be the inner court. And we will modify this. This happened to be Frank Wright's Imperial Hotel, 1917, in Tokyo. We're going to modify and make the massing model according. So it's all be very beautiful and beneficial for everyone on the flat earth to enjoy. Because we have an enemy, and the enemy is the devil, who is against God. Now I want to show you something interesting, one more thing, because what we have here is the these satellite dishes. Okay, let's talk about satellite dishes, because people say, well, Danny, they have satellites, and so how does the satellite dishes work? How do all these things come to pass? And actually the way they come to pass is by way of deception. And the deception is there's a cabling network that goes across the earth. And this cabling network has to do with the advent and the workings of all the electronic devices that you see it's in Valley Forge recently, and I sold this picture, if I can find, that shows the satellite dishes across from Lafayette's headquarters. They had this, well, here, this is a friend of mine. He's scrapping a satellite dish, okay? Now, if you see that satellite dish, it is set horizontal, right? Well, why isn't it not set vertically? Because if it was set vertically, it would pick up the satellite, right? Or am I wrong about that? No, of course. You need the satellite dishes to go horizontal because that is what they pick up. And so you see here, here's the one, the Valley Forge. They're across from Lafayette headquarters, across the street. And you see a very small, on the left, satellite dish, set horizontal. And on the right, a bigger one. Because years ago, they had the bigger satellite dish because the networking for this matrix was not complete. But now it is pretty much complete, so much so that everyone can have a cell phone. So you see the cell phone and the satellite dish and all this has nothing to do with the satellite. It is just all horizontality. And here's some perspective view of the Millennial Temple. And this is Danny Jain for Tom Anderson Associate, and we talk to you next time. Goodbye.